that even though it's messy and it's graphic at the moment, that something good might come out of it?
No, I don't see anything good that can come of it. I think what's happening now, they're trying to defund the police, or they're trying to break apart the police. That's going to be the wrong thing, because in the Black community, a lot of these poor, low-income communities, the police are the last bastion of hope. But these people that are trying to do that, they don't care if the black-on-black murder rate quadruples. They don't really care. As long as they can say, oh, well, there was no police involved shooting of a black person, they don't care if the black-on-black homicide number goes from 7,000 a year to 25,000. They don't care, because
there's no such
it's all
thing
about
as
trying to push a particular
crime.
narrative.
Stop it.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Let's not play that game. You got 13% of the population, but half of murders and half of murderers. Let's not play that game.
Reese, the final 20 seconds to you.
But while I was riding down the street, I was listening to two individuals on the radio, and my blood was boiling to the point I had to pull my car over because I was so infuriated by the anti-police rhetoric that I heard. This has gotten out of control. It's gotten out of control. It is beyond frustrating as a black man in America and as a former police officer in America at the stupidity and rhetoric that's being pushed. In the spirit of being anti-police and coming out with claims saying that black people somehow have to make sure you wear a seatbelt when you're black. Make sure you can't wear a tank top on your shirt when you're driving down the street. It's all these rules you got to tell your black children when they leave the house.
When they got you, if they got you like this, then you just relax your body, breathe in deep, right? Not hard. I mean, you really kind of shallow, right? Because you want to stay alive, son. You want to stay alive, right? And you say, hey, I can't breathe, just in case somebody got a camera looking, and you just breathe, relax, let your body go limp, all right? I need you to stay alive, okay? This is what I taught my son this morning.
Because all of these cops are, there are black cops too. The Phoenix police chief is a black woman. Come, oh my God, help me. You don't have to tell nothing any different that you would tell your black kid that you would tell your white kid. And it's very simple. Don't be a criminal. That's all you need to tell your kid. Don't be a crook. And when you get pulled over, obey the law. Obey the officer, and you won't get killed. If you don't commit crimes, white, black, green, or orange, or you a UFO coming down, dropping off alien kids, you don't have to worry about police if you're not a crook committing crimes. Do things happen, unfortunately, to some people? Yes, it does. But you don't need to be concerned about it like you're not concerned about getting struck by lightning if you never go outside. If you're not committing crimes, you don't have to worry about it. You got to be the dumbest person on planet Earth if you think that there's even a conversation that needs to be had about defunding police. Who's going to take the you-know-what calls involving children getting taken advantage of by adults? Who's going to take that call for service? Who's going to do that investigation? You know the people that's going to rob and burn down your building? What do you think you're going to do if you defund the police department? It's going to be crazy anarchy. What do you think is going to happen? You know, remember 9/11 when people was doing all this? Remember Pulse nightclub and the stuff that go on at the military base? Who do you think will respond to those attacks come foreign individuals into America? The military don't do things in domestic situations. They're not even prepared. They don't even have a gun. They got to go check out their weapon and then come to a scene somewhere. The police department is responsible for taking that situation and dealing with it. When you have a nut that want to go into a school or want to go into a mall or a populated area, who do you think is going to respond to that?
Yeah, well, Larry, despite the fact that Illinois is still under that stay-at-home order because of the pandemic, this turned out to be the most violent Memorial Day weekend we have seen in the city of Chicago since 2015. So we've been counting. We counted at least 49 people shot since Friday, and now 10 of those individuals are dead. And again, those numbers go back to Friday afternoon at 3, and they go tally all the way up through midnight. This was the last shooting of Memorial Day weekend. It was around 11:30 last night in Humboldt Park on Hamlin near Augusta. Police tell us 3 people, a woman and 2 men, were shot standing outside. Among the other victims of the weekend, a 15-year-old girl grazed in the leg while standing at 120th and Wallace. Sunday morning, a 21-year-old man died after being shot in the head on Drake and Augusta. That was also in Humboldt Park. And then Saturday morning, a 15-year-old boy was killed after being shot multiple times at 76 and Exchange.
Just saw the real problem is that the rioting in some rare places is being stopped by police. And their aim is to fix that. They would like to eliminate all law enforcement for good. Today, Democrats in Dallas took down the statue of a Texas Ranger from the terminal at Love Field. It had stood in the airport for more than 50 years. But Texas Rangers are cops, and cops must be removed even when they're made of bronze. Meanwhile, the Lego toy company has ceased marketing sets that contain plastic police officers. Apparently, they're too dangerous for our children, and so on. So much of this going on right now. If it all seems like yet another episode of the silly and fleeting hysteria that sometimes grips our culture out of nowhere, usually in lulls in the news cycle, you should know that it's not that. This is entirely real. It is being pushed by serious people, and they are deadly serious about it. Last night, for example, Brian Fallon, who was the press secretary of the Hillary Clinton for President campaign in the last election cycle, tweeted, quote, "Defund the police." Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib agrees. Expect more members of Congress to agree soon. In some places, they're not talking, they're acting. Steve Fletcher represents the 3rd Ward in Minneapolis. He's on the city council there. By this week, his city had been completely scorched by riots. At least 66 businesses were utterly destroyed by fire. 300 more had been vandalized or looted. Fletcher didn't even mention that. Instead, he attacked the city's police department for trying to contain the violence. Quote, "Several of us on the council are working on finding out what it would take to disband the Minneapolis Police Department," end quote. You'd think people in the city would be shocked by that, but at least on the city council, everyone else nodded their approval. In the 9th Ward, Councilwoman Alondra Cano tweeted this yesterday, quote, "The Minneapolis Police Department is not reformable. Change is coming." According to City Councilman Fletcher, all 9 members of the City Council are now considering getting rid of the Minneapolis Police Department. Hard to believe, but it's not just there. In the city of Los Angeles, Mayor Eric Garcetti looks out across the worst rioting in the nation's 2nd largest city in a generation, in almost 30 years. His conclusion? We need far fewer police.